Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaron Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yo, I'm doing good.
Matt, that's great. We're here another week, technically, of The Mistake Zone, and Matt, I feel like it's only fitting that we open up the vault once again for the next few weeks, aka the next 2 weeks or so. And I'm not sure why. Did we make the connection with vault episode and Fallout vaults the last wave or the last time we opened the vault, Matt? I'm pretty sure we didn't.
I think we did that like afterwards at some point. I don't know.
It's easy pickings, Matt. It's so easy pickings right now for Vault Goofs because we're fresh off not fresh, it's been out for quite some time now. The Fallout series, which is available on Amazon Prime, being brought to us by Amazon. And we're going to spend the next hour or so just going through it. Nothing too deep dive. Usually when we review episodes or a series, we kind of go episode by episode, but for now, I feel like this one will be a bit more free form, just kind of going through the different protagonists, specifically the finale, since I think that's the most piece of content that's fresh in my mind, and just tiny things here and there. But Matt, with a loose table of contents out of the way, you just recently finished the Fallout series as well, right? All 8 episodes.
Yes.
And now that that's in your head, Matt, how did you feel about just Fallout in general and its 8-episode run?
Jaron, I thought the Fallout run was pretty good. I remember thinking at the very start, I wonder how people who don't know anything about Fallout are going to feel about the show.
Yes.
Because I feel like this show really kind of starts off in the deep end, and it doesn't, I think, do a good job of introducing, kind of like the world concepts at the start. I think I felt very much the same way about how, I think I said this exact same thing when we were talking about Edge Runners.
Right.
Actually.
Where I know for me personally, when I went into Fallout, luckily I was watching it alongside my partner, and her, familiarity with the Fallout franchise is next to nothing. Where I think the most she's ever experienced Fallout was through osmosis, and one of her best friends playing through Fallout, watching her, one of her best friends playing through a bit of Fallout 3 one evening or so. And on the flip side, I've, said it before our Starfield episode, I'm a really big fan of the modern Fallout games. And while I'm not super into the lore, so to speak, I'm not heavily invested, where I feel like I'm in that middle ground of I just like the setting of Fallout, and being in that mindset watching the first episode, I feel like, to me personally, does do a good job of actually making you intrigued regarding the world it's trying to present. I think the image of Vault 31 and 32, no, sorry, my mistake, Vault 32 and 33 coming together, Lucy's marriage with who turns out to be a raider, and that whole battle scene in between, I think that's just such a, from a casual standpoint, such a striking concept and visual that I feel like it was really casual friendly, of just someone who is looking for something to binge while still having that intrigue where, oh, okay, something obviously happened that's forcing all these people to live in vaults. And I think as someone who has that previous experience with Fallout, it's that notion of, okay, immediately they're in a vault, what's the social experience going on? And at the same time, it's me trying to contain myself of not being that, well, actually, this vault is actually a social experiment, not trying to spoil that reveal. And How do you feel about that, the concept of the vault experiment not necessarily being revealed in the series until, I know it's hinted when they visit Vault 4, but fully explored in the finale?
I think that was the best way to do it.
Hmm.
I think because you never really know, even in the Fallout games, when you're first going in, assuming you haven't spoiled anything for yourself, that the vaults are all kind of experiments. And I think them choosing Vault 33 to be kind of good people
Yeah.
made it so that the suspicion isn't there as much towards like the very start of the series. And I don't know.
Where
I think it all lends like not knowing it until the end really adds to the drop of that information, I think.
Yeah, where I know when Lucy and Max get in or are becoming acquainted with the Vault 4, you get the little hints where I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's the overseer asking, "Oh, what's the purpose of your vault?" And already I feel like that was enough just to if it wasn't obvious at first to a
Mm-hmm.
casual viewer, I think that pull was enough just to really create that intrigue of, okay, something else is going on, where
Yeah.
in theory all the vault, well, I guess the fact that Norm's kind of exploring the vaults already
Mm-hmm.
previously
Mm-hmm.
to episode 4 already gives you the notion that something sinister is going on. But just that confirmation from Vault 4 I thought was a really good way to go about it. And Matt,
Mm-hmm.
while we're on the topic of the vaults specifically, um, Vault 33, I found, was, as you said, a pretty good introductory vault for just a casual audience. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much lawful good trying to rebuild a society that can eventually rebuild the wastelands, which is reminiscent to the, I guess, like premise of Vault 76 from Fallout 76 of the same name, of, you know, trying just to build a colony that will be able to take back the waste when it eventually opens, whenever it's decided to open. But in regards to Vault 31, how did you feel about the reveal that, hey, this is the vault that is supposed to house the super geniuses of Vault Tech from 200 years ago, and everyone's kind of in cryostasis?
I thought that was an interesting way to do the vaults. I actually think that this is probably one of my more favored vaults across like all the series
Hmm.
because I think it's one of the most vaults that I would be okay being in, and it's not an inherently cruel vault like a lot of other ones.
Right. And going to the finale specifically in Vault 31, I think it was that notion where I forget what was it, where I believe the brain robot
Hmm.
was Bud,
Yeah.
and he tells Norm to sleep in his dad's pod and go into cryostasis just
Hmm.
because he doesn't know when he'll be able to reopen the vault or when it would be safe to kind of come out.
Hmm.
And I know we're going to get to the finale in a second, but I think that in particular is such an interesting, you know, concept that I personally don't remember coming across in a modern Fallout. It could have been something explored in Fallout 1 or 2, but I think Norm's discovery of what Vault 31 is and then being put in a situation of no one is actually here to save me, I have to potentially go into cryostasis,
Hmm.
is something that I don't know really resonated with me. And for all the ups and downs that the finale had, I think that in particular was one of my favorite parts. And I guess
Hmm.
now that I opened the floodgates, Matt, what did you think of Norm as a character and kind of his storyline throughout the series?
I really liked Norm's character because I felt like Norm had such a good what a person in modern day or what a viewer would feel like they would want to do if they were put into Vault 33 without the
Hmm.
like I guess like social conditioning of what Vault 33 is. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Where one of the things that I saw going around was how would each of the, I guess, do you consider Norm a protagonist in the series?
I mean, yeah, sort of. I don't consider him like a like real protagonist. I do limit that to Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul.
Hmm.
But I would consider like Norm to be a very strong supporting cast.
That is Norm, the DLC protagonist in the side story.
I guess so. I honestly would consider Norm to be someone that's on the same level as Cooper's wife. I can't remember her name.
Fair. Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But in regards to anyway, in regards to the protagonist, I like how people have been assigning, oh, this each character is a certain play archetype for each of the, I guess, different play styles for Fallout. And with Norm in particular, I feel like Norm is the stealth character, the
Mm-hmm.
one that you put all your points into the stealth equivalent and intelligence, where I thought Norm's storyline was such a good contrast to everything that we saw from Lucy to Max to Cooper, where
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot more intrigue based, but also more low key and just a good palate cleanser to, I guess, the cutthroat nature of the wastelands, where even though you're in your own little vault, your own little slice of protection and paradise, there's still something underlining that can that is there, ready to really get at you. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Norm was a good, yeah, side character, but a prominent side character, with enough motivation just to keep going. But
Yeah, for Norm, like like the ending that he gets in episode 8 on whether he does go into the cryo or not. I'm assuming he does go into the cryo. Really makes me want a Fallout game where I don't know, maybe like halfway to 70% of the way through, you are put into like some sort of time skip, and any
oh
choices you
yeah,
made in like the first part of the game will just be there or like amplified in like the second part.
I know the examples don't necessarily come to me immediately, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you feel about, that concept when you see it in gaming, that hey, this is a point of no return just because you're going to have a time skip? And is that something you generally like, or can you even recall a time where you actually experienced that?
Jared, honestly, the only thing I can really recall similar to that, that's not even like exactly like that, is one of the Fire Emblem games where partway through it's not a time skip, but like the way that you've set up your character romances, a bunch of kids come from the future and
Right.
they're like mixed archetypes based on which parents they have. I thought that was like a good bit.
Yeah, I
Um,
think
mhm.
something similar. I believe the Fable games were. Maybe I'm misremembering, but of course, we have Mass Effect, but your choices have to span 3 games or so. But
Mhm.
yeah, in regards to Norm's story, I'm curious to see if he does end up in one of the cryostase pods, if that's either addressed in season 2 or opens it up to potentially a season 3 / spin-off afterwards, where Lucy finally gets some sort of closure, but she realizes, oh wait, where's my brother?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, did they mention it? But speaking about the cryopods, maybe I missed it, but did you catch if there was any implication of Cooper's wife being in one of those pods?
I don't think there was any direct like anything direct about that.
Fair enough, Matt.
Mhm.
Where I think the moment that was revealed to be the purpose of Vault 31, I think I immediately thought that and
Mhm.
was debating, oh, should I be going back to see if there was any clues, any hints to this?
Yeah, I
But
feel like she has to be in there just because of tying stories together.
right. And I believe Cooper says at one point during the show too, he's looking for his wife. So,
Mhm.
or at least what happened to his wife, where I, I honestly feel like it's sort of building up to their reunion and how Cooper's reaction to his wife is when that reunion takes place. Where Matt,
Mm-hmm.
speaking about the protagonist, let's go to Norm's sister, Lucy. How did
Yes.
you feel about Lucy throughout the series?
Jaron, I really kind of went on a bit of a roller coaster on Lucy as a character because I really liked her towards the start because I thought like, her happy-go-luckiness played pretty well in contrast to like what I already know about Fallout's universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of dipped towards the middle where I was getting angry at her optimism. And then I came back up again towards the end where she seems like she's been getting more and more used to the wasteland.
More hardened to
Mm-hmm.
the perils of the wastes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think when I think of Lucy as a character, she felt like she felt like a vanilla playthrough of you sort of put all your special points kind of evenly distributed, where she plays this lawful good character
Mm-hmm.
who is pretty naive, just kind of going with her morals that are based on, a sheltered vault life. But I do have to admit that when she walks out of the Super Duper Mart after the exchange with Cooper and she's donning, or not Cooper, but, the
The
people
robots?
within the Super Duper
Mm-hmm.
Mart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she's donning like the vault leather armor. I got a notable pop out of
Uh-huh.
that,
Uh-huh.
where I do feel like Lucy's character, she's the de facto protagonist in many ways, and she's the one you kind of need to be a not necessarily a audience insert, but close enough where you're a casual person discovering what Fallout is, the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think a lot of the things that she does make sense to a casual viewer, but I do appreciate how there are bits and pieces of her actions that are, just small references, small call outs for people who are really accustomed to the Fallout universe already, which was really nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think with Lucy in particular, I think back to episode 2, specifically her interactions with the doctor,
Yeah.
both in originally meeting him in the Weiss when he discovers her by a campfire, and then once again within Philly, and then he says they have their, the start to their mini journey together, where I think back to the conversation between the doctor and Lucy a lot, especially in that campfire, just because I thought that was probably some of the most engaging back and forth that I saw within the series, just because it really does do a great way of painting what Lucy has to expect while she's still fighting back with, that her being naive. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the doctor giving her a reality check while still showing compassion to her and her situation, also hinting at something might be actually wrong with the vaults as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I really like the dialogue between the two, and also preparing Lucy and even the audience for the worst that is to come. But
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel about Lucy and having to behead the doctor in episode, I believe, 2?
Jared, I was honestly very surprised about how how the doctor kind of like ended up
Right.
dying. Because I thought that the doctor was going to kind of play the role of explaining the wasteland to Lucy.
Mhm.
I was very surprised that they just cut off his head.
I
But
feel like,
mhm.
again, such a stark and graphic image of, even though you don't see her cutting off the head, but just the
Mhm.
notion that she has to cut the head really sets the tone right away. If the tone hasn't been set
Yeah.
after that gruesome battle in the vault, I feel like that especially sets the tone of how literal cutthroat you have to be in the wasteland. Where,
Mhm.
going to your point, Matt, how different do you think Lucy's journey would have been if the doctor played more of a supporting, co-op character to her story for a bit longer?
I honestly think that she wouldn't have become as like hard as she was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like her kind of running into the Ghoul and dealing with him really set Lucy onto the path that I feel like is a lot more enjoyable rather than her, you know. I feel like if the Doctor stayed around, she would have been told the lessons and then like internalize them in season 2 sort of thing.
Right. But man, Matt, I have to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout based on the as the property. Matt, Lucy, for more than I expected, was a bit too clean for my liking.
You don't like
Especially
the clean
when
faces, Jaron?
Matt, I feel like immediately stepping out of the vault, she should have been insta dirty. But I think that caught me off guard a lot of, man, the too clean for my taste. Where's the dirty mod? Need to get some dirt on her face. But yeah, I feel like I kind of agree to the point where with all four protagonists, it, I do feel like they were able to strike a balance between how they presented everyone and their own unique stories. I think I was actually, we'll get to Cooper in a bit, but I was actually surprised at how much Cooper backstory we received as well. But before we get to him, Matt, we have to move on to our Brotherhood of Steel representative in Maximus or Max. And Matt, just in general, same question. How did you feel about Max throughout the series?
I hated Maximus for basically this whole series, right until like his final 2 minutes.
Matt, going back to where the special point allocation is, I feel like Maximus put, whoever was creating him, put everything into luck and hoped for the best. Where Maximus's character was a good introduction to the Brotherhood, and really outlining the potential, villainous qualities that the Brotherhood of Steel may or may not have. And to contrast that between Maximus and how he seems to somehow luck his way into every encounter, whether it be, hey, I'm the scribe to this Brotherhood knight who is actually a coward. He gets killed by a bear. Oh, great. Now I'm in a suit. My new scribe took away my power core. Oh, here's Lucy to save me. And then even by the end of, hey, I get to stand here by the Resistance's leader who dies on her own. Wait, everyone thinks I'm the one who killed her. Now I'm the head knight of the Brotherhood or something, where it's almost comical how much Maximus is able to benefit from dumb luck, where I'm of two minds of Maximus, where as a casual viewer, I think Maximus might be the worst written character of the three or of the four protagonists. But
he's really weird.
But as someone who enjoys the chaos that can come out of a Fallout playthrough, I feel like Maximus somehow embodies that chaos of, hey, I'm kind of, would you say Maximus is somewhere more neutral of the three main protagonists?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he is like the most, but when you're going from like a scale of Lucy to Ghoul, Maximus is the neutral one there.
Where there's something kind of childlike about how he treats his time in Vault 4, just of him, having caviar for the first time, him eating popcorn while Lucy might be beheaded or something. And then even his mistake of, oh no, Lucy's in danger, I need to use my power armor to fuck shit up in this vault. Where, it's almost comical. And I know you have his kind of more somber introduction of, oh, I'm in the boot camp of the Brotherhood. My best friend, they can't go out on duty because someone put a blade in their shoe. And maybe
I hated that scene so much.
Oh, I went so hard, Matt. But the implication is that I did it even though I didn't do it. And I don't know. Max to me is an interesting character, one where he gets in over his head so much, but it ends up working out in his favor, where it's a bit aggravating to me when I kind of think back. Where I don't know, I'm of two minds of Max, where I can appreciate what the character brings to the series as a whole, but of the protagonists, I do think he's like the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Matt, when we think of the Brotherhood, what did you just think about the Brotherhood's portrayal in the Fallout TV series?
I mean, I thought it was okay. Like I think they established enough of a kind of culty, Templary vibe to them
Yeah,
that it was like enough to like get the idea of like the Brotherhood of Steel across. And I feel like that's really. Jen, I don't really delve too much into the Brotherhood of Steel stuff in any of the Fallout games, so that's actually mostly the vibe I have for the Brotherhood of Steel in general.
yeah, I feel like it was just a good representation of how I feel the Brotherhood of
Mm-hmm.
Steel has been presented, at least in the games that I've played. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
we get to probably the most complex, arguably the most complex of the main protagonists in Cooper, aka the Ghoul. And Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I, I guess I have to ask you the question while I try to form my thoughts. What did you think about both portrayals of Cooper, the pre Ghoul and post Ghoul?
I really, really liked seeing both Cooper and the Ghoul, just because I liked watching the past scenes to see how he slowly falls into becoming the Ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ghoul himself, honestly, is just like a really fun character. It is your like outlaw cowboy character, and does have the most action to him. And having the being, I guess, like I would say like he's the major story piece of the Fallout series, or like the
Right.
Fallout TV series. So like he is just like very strongly written.
Yeah, I feel like with the Ghoul, he's such a striking character appearance wise, where,
Hmm.
sure, you have Lucy, who's the naive Vault girl. You have Maximus, who is the in over his head military guy. But then just the visual of the Ghoul
Hmm.
is so striking. And add in the fact that he is this gunslinger where he does, I don't want to say he uh, scales towards the more, if we're looking at like the alignment chart, I wouldn't say he's, evil per se, but he's the anti-hero of the series. And
Hmm.
if we were allocating special points, Matt,
Hmm.
Cooper as the Ghoul is definitely your and like late game Fallout character, where when he was brought to the government and he ends up not only shooting his way out of the situation but then talking his way out of the situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's peak. I've leveled up a bunch. I
Hmm.
have all the add-ons and all the accessories that give me bonus special points. And even I think Cooper's most memorable action scene is in the finale when he is fighting the Brotherhood of Steel members in the dark and all the gun flashes illuminate the area. I think that was probably the best action scene of the game in general. But
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, I guess going for just touching upon like the post or pre Ghoul portrayal of Cooper, um, how did you feel about, I guess, Cooper and in an extension, just his wife's work in Vault Tech and that slow reveal of, hey, maybe what his wife's doing isn't the best.
I liked it. Like I thought that was a very good way to kind of amp up Vault Tech as Vault Tech itself. I do like how they like up until the point where they're like really pushes Baltec is evil. They really were kind of pushing the. It is just giving both Cooper and his wife valid points on both of their views, and I thought that was a really good like push and pull that they were doing like during all those segments.
I should have mentioned this beforehand, but it's Barb who is
Barb.
his wife, and Janie is his daughter.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
touching upon Barb for a minute, I do, it is your typical media portrayal of, housewife, executive is also really cutthroat in this world that is being defined by capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think her portrayal during, the meeting where Cooper's listening in on the different executives talking about the vault, and just her shift of character,
Mm-hmm.
and how it feels like she's a lot more stern in that conversation, a lot more authoritative. And of course, her dropping the war never changes line. I think
Yes.
both her and Cooper dropping that line specifically in the episode was such a pop off moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
even though in the Fallout overall lore, we don't know who dropped the bombs, even though there's a lot of different, foreign just superpowers at play, the dropping of the bombs has always been, at least to my knowledge, a mystery in the game.
I thought they'd said it was China. I feel like I remember hearing that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think, both China and Russia have been mentioned, but I don't think it's ever been explicitly said who dropped the bomb. And I think that's just playing into the communist fears that the time frame of Fallout is really based around,
Mm-hmm,
where
mm-hmm.
you do have these foreign boogeymen, but they never say who the boogeyman is specifically. And I know one of the criticisms of the finale of the Fallout TV series is the fact that, Barb saying that, why don't we just drop the bombs to kind of kickstart everything, really unveils the mystery, or, reveals the mystery. But not arguably, but I don't think she explicitly says they're going to drop the bombs, but that is just one
Mm-hmm.
avenue that they can take if needed,
Mm-hmm.
where maybe it's the way it's presented, where how maybe a common or a casual viewer might think, they're the ones who dropped the bomb. But I think from a lore perspective, it does put an interesting wrinkle of, okay, maybe this is something of Vault Tech's doing. But what did you think of kind of that reveal in the finale, Matt?
I liked it. Like, to my knowledge, like I thought it was in Fallout lore that China dropped the bombs, or the like first bombs. Vault-Tec, the scene like showing that Vault-Tec is maybe the one who dropped them first is, in my head, a lot better story wise if it is the truth. It's like, I feel like within Fallout's universe, if you told me, hey, Vault-Tec was really the ones who dropped the bomb, I feel like that's a more satisfying story than if it was like China or Russia to like have dropped the bombs on America.
Right. Where, again, I believe it's never been confirmed, but yeah, I do appreciate how it really opens up an interesting wrinkle of, hey, maybe this is something that was done intentionally on American soil, where, Matt, speaking of that, roundtable of Voltec, or just, different CEOs and different executives, Matt, we got to see a quick cameo of Robert House, who was the Robco CEO, but also ruler of the New Vegas Strip.
Oh,
and
okay.
I got to pop off to that, Matt, where you know how much I love me some New Vegas, where that was part of kind of the cliffhanger towards the end. Lucy's dad escapes the situation, and Maximus or in some power armor. He he walks by a Deathclaw skull, and he gets to see New Vegas in the far distance, where obviously New Vegas is going to play a role in season 2 in some capacity, especially when you have Robert House appearing at least as a cameo. But when I was talking to our pal Julian, who is more versed into kind of Fallout lore, I think given the time period and how this is still canon within the overall Fallout stories, there is a chance that a canon ending from Fallout New Vegas might have to be chosen in order to portray some sort of New Vegas in a potential in the series.
Wait, Jared,
where
when does the series take place? Or have they said when the Fallout TV series takes place with regards to when the games take place?
Matt, it's my favorite segment of any Mistake Zone episode where I Google search something and read off the internet. So I'm taking this from a IGN article entitled Fallout Official Timeline Confirmed, How the Show Fits In with the Game. So Matt, let's go through this real quick. According to IGN, bombs drop year 2077, Fallout 76 year 2102, Fallout 1 2161, Fallout Tactics 2197, Fallout 2 2241, Fallout 3 2277, Fallout New Vegas 2281, Fallout 4 2287, and the Fallout TV show takes place in 2296.
Ah, okay.
So in that case, this would be happening in a post Fallout world. And I guess since I know when we were kind of talking before we started recording, Matt, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on, in this situation where you have a kind of multimedia franchise and all the different parts are technically canon since they all intersect in one another in general. How do you feel about making a particular ending canon for one part of that multimedia franchise in order to support another?
I think that's fine because I feel like even if you go, to like other, I guess like games or any other media, you are, if you want to be kind of serious about your timeline, going to have to pick what really happened at the end of each of those games. So, like I never finished New Vegas, so I don't know how any of that game's endings. But like I'm guessing if New Vegas is there, maybe like was there an ending where just like New Vegas isn't there anymore?
So I believe the endings that you can get through, this is just going off the top of my head, you can align with Mr. House. So Mr. House, still continues to own the strip. You can align with the NCR, so that NCR controls the strip. You can align with the Brotherhood, so the Brotherhood controls the strip. Or you, as your protagonist, can just run the strip. But in one of the DLCs, if I recall correctly, there is mention that, there are a bunch of just monsters living under New Vegas that will eventually take it over or destroy it, where I know some users have pointed out, Lucy's dad is overlooking what seems to be a more desolate New Vegas, where maybe that's the case where the monsters under New Vegas came out and destroyed everything. But I think from a story perspective, and I guess just in terms of me favoring things, if you introduce Mr. House, in some capacity, I feel like a Mr. House run New Vegas, one where he's able to continue to grow New Vegas to make it more of a spectacle, more of a defining set piece in this wasteland. From, I guess, maybe from a casual perspective or even a production standpoint, I feel like that's the one you make canon in order to have such a defined place that visually looks so much different than what you've seen before, and having a character that is so much different than the potential factions that you've met previously. But in terms of you, how would you want to see New Vegas portrayed in this season 2?
I mean, okay, so you said that New Vegas took place in 2281, and then this show is in like 2290 something.
Yeah, like 15 years later.
Yeah, so like I feel like, with the way any of those endings could have gone, I feel like those could all lead to them doing whatever they want to New Vegas, and it would still make sense in lore, right?
Fair enough, Matt. Yeah, I can totally see. Yeah, given that it is 15 years, so many things have happened, and I guess the way you clean it up is just the monster route of, okay, monsters destroyed everything. Just because...
Yeah, no matter what. Like, a monsters game.
I mean, we do see the Deathclaw skull, which kind of also hints to that.
Mm-hmm.
Where, speaking of, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't see a super mutant in season 1, correct?
I don't think so, or at least there was no focus on one. I wouldn't be surprised
Yes.
if like when they passed through, I don't know, like Vault 4 or Philly, that there was one in the background or something. If that, Jaren, I didn't know until I was looking deeper into the show that Philly isn't called Philly because of Philadelphia. Because Jaren, I don't know my U.S. geography.
Yeah, same. That's what I kind of thought at first, but then it's like, oh, it's spelled with an F. I guess and it is a big
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. So
So,
for the people who don't know, Philly is just named Philly because it's a landfill.
oh yeah, that does make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
Uh-huh.
how did you feel about I guess, just the CG and all the different special effects throughout the series? Because I feel like this will, this will really lead into how we see Death Claws and super mutants when it comes to their appearances in Fallout. I mean, the second season.
I'm kind of interested in. I didn't mind the CG and like
Yeah,
the kind of special effects because I feel like the they were. It seemed to me, at least, it looked like they were using maybe like half animatronic, half like CGs for like details and stuff like that. I really
hmm
liked the weird water monster thing.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like all the shots they did where they kind of really went into its mouth and all the fingers are there. I felt those all looked really good. Um, like it, I can't think of like any other really like notable practical or CG effects. I guess the robot was like, I think the robot was like pretty well done. I don't know if that was like fully CG or if that was practical. Like I think everything mixed or was like good enough or fit well enough that I didn't really have any standout or moments that really stood out as being weird in terms of CG.
right.
Like, did you have any of those or?
No, not really. I think everything was kind of in line. Matt,
Mhm.
I think production wise, when we first heard that, oh, okay, there's going to be an Amazon Fallout show that's exclusively on Prime.
Mhm.
I think it matched the level of quality I was kind of expecting from it. Like there was nothing notably, I guess, outstanding to me, but there was nothing like incredibly wrong with it for me as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Where I think presentation wise, again, Cooper as the Ghoul is probably the most striking character you see throughout the whole series. And I guess with the introduction of the sea monster, and that one portion of when it's trying to eat Lucy, and then you look into its gross mouth, and there's all these like fingers as
Mhm.
teeth or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
I feel like it worked a lot. Like that worked for what it was, but when I'm really curious to see how they end up showcasing super mutants and like death claws, these more striking characters that we're used to from the Fallout universe that we've seen, as well as some of the more grimy abominations that we come across as well. But
Mhm.
speaking about ghouls, Matt,
Mhm.
how before we kind of move on to the finale and just our general thoughts there, Thaddeus, the Brotherhood Squire, he ends up, serving Maximus for a time. What did you think of the twist at the end, or the twist towards the end of he becomes a ghoul?
I mean that's pretty good. I really like that the kind of like shady salesman finally got like a customer, and
Yeah,
this whole time he was telling you the truth. He really could regrow the doctor's foot or
right.
whatever. And Jared, I'm assuming that like he's gonna show up again in like the later season or seasons,
Yeah.
but I think Jared, I feel like with how well received Fallout is, I wonder if like they could spin him off into his own thing.
Where I know one of the criticisms about the Thaddeus like ghoul reveal is
Hmm.
that, oh, he doesn't like look like a traditional ghoul, but it's like you kind of have to transform into a
Yeah,
ghoul
yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Where I know if your only base point is, Cooper, of course, like Cooper starts off normal, where I'm hoping in season 2 we get to see more of his backstory and his actual transformation into the ghoul that we know, where even though he starts off as this cowboy actor, eventually he has to become the badass. Where I do want to see that transformation take place, him slowly turning into the ghoul that we know, and maybe contrasting that with eventually Thaddeus and how he's transforming into a ghoul as well.
Mm.
But I know I didn't mention this, but Matt, what did you think of Cooper as the ghoul's introduction? Just, this tall tale of every one of those bandits digging up his grave and how he's being, kept alive as punishment.
I thought that was kind of like appropriate for what you know about ghouls, and like the I feel like it was a very obvious reveal that it was going to be the Cooper character as a ghoul at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have a nice, like, at that point, a nice contrast from what you were seeing of Cooper prior to, or like seeing where this guy ended up right after all those like bombs dropped, I guess.
Right. I guess we should just get into it. Episode 8, the finale of season 1, I guess, of the Fallout TV series. Season 2 has been confirmed, I believe. But, Matt, a lot of mixed feelings towards the actual finale, both, coming from me and some of the reception that I've been reading, where I think the finale itself is so all over the place, and it's less of a finale to give a reader closure, and I feel more so something that just serves as a cliffhanger machine that isn't necessarily ending a season 1, but introducing a season 2. But
yeah,
before we get into the specifics, Matt, how did you just feel about the finale as a piece, as an episode in itself, and as the bow tie to the season overall?
With regards to Lucy's story, I thought it was a very good, like, kind of, starting of a bow tie for everything. I thought, like, her finding out, like, oh, what happened to her mom, her like learning about her dad's past and the vault experiments were all like really good. Jaron, I feel like the Lucy Maximus romance is really kind of just like tacked on there. It felt very weird to me. And Jaron, I don't know if I just like missed, like, I don't know, some critical scenes or something when I was watching that episode. I thought the Brotherhood of Steel was going to Vault 33. And I don't know why the ghoul was there at all. I don't know if I just missed the scenes that said why they're going there, or if I just like misunderstood them. Did they ever say?
I think the whole the whole season revolves around the chip within the Doctor's head, right, or whatever it was, and it's that realization of, okay, Lucy is bringing the head to the NCR, and Maximus tells the Brotherhood, "I know what you're looking for. It's with." The NCR has it, and then they have to go towards there.
Oh, okay. I thought he said it was at Vault 33 for some reason.
It's because Maximus and Lucy came up with the plan of, hey, you're going to bring this there, then I'm going to bring the Brotherhood there, and then that's where we'll meet up. And in terms of Coop, his whole goal was to, find out what happened to, I guess, his wife ultimately, and then when he finds out what Lucy's last name is, he knows the connection there.
Jared, I felt bad for everybody that was inside the Griffith Observatory. They were all chilling, and then the Brotherhood just drops in on them.
Matt, again, that's the issues with the Wasteland. It's not a friendly place, and everyone's out to get you for theirs. But Matt, what did you think of the reveal that the chip that the Doctor had planted in his head or whatever was this cold fusion technology that is able to power the Wastelands? And even though it's been 200 years, somehow all these light bulbs are still work.
I mean, Jared, the light bulbs are off. They're not going to burn out while they're off, Jared.
You would think some of them would have exploded just due to natural disaster at this point.
But I don't know, Jared. Like, I don't know really what I expected that chip to be, or like that tech to be that was inside the dude's head. I thought it was going to be some kind of like information, I think, the whole time. But I I don't know. I felt kind of underwhelmed when they revealed what it was,
Right.
because it felt like it is very important with regards to what's going on in the wasteland, but I don't know. Maybe it just didn't have as much of a big stakes reveal as I was hoping it would.
No, I totally know what you mean. Where when it was revealed to be Cold Fusion, and I know it's been hinted throughout, with the leader of the current NCR and the role she got to play,
Hmm.
back in the pre-bomb days. But just to kind of see it and the implications with her saying, "Oh, you know, you gifted Cold Fusion to the Brotherhood of the Steel. How do you think they're going to use it?" And then she passes away. Where I guess, since, at least to my knowledge, Cold Fusion hasn't really played a role in the modern Fallouts, at least the from what I understood, or at least care about, if I had to be honest.
Hmm.
Again, it is a striking visual of just seeing all these lights and all the light pollution in the wasteland that people aren't necessarily used to, and how the Brotherhood of Steel will eventually either weaponize it or even monopolize it, for season two. I think creates some interesting stories, but I think from what I kind of want out of Fallout, that is less interesting to me compared to Cooper's quest for revenge and uh, Lucy's quest for revenge too, I guess,
Hmm. Hmm.
where even where Maximus ends up as a new knight or top knight of the Brotherhood of Steel, I'm less interested in what his story or how his story plays out, and more interested in, okay, what's the new daughter or dad daughter duo with Dogmeat up to,
Uh huh. Uh huh.
for a potential sequel. But yeah, I feel like just over and all as a finale, it I can knock it for having weird pacing, for having no real sense of closure, for just having cliffhanger after cliffhanger. But at the same time, I think as a casual viewer and someone who's not heavily into Fallout lore like that, it did
Hmm.
enough to kind of tickle my interest of, wow, there's Mr. House, the twist of, oh, Vault Tech might be the ones, or Vault-Tec actually consider dropping the bomb. They're dropping the war never changes line. You
Uh
know,
huh. Uh huh.
Barb saying that, why don't we drop the bombs? My heart's racing. We see the Deathclaw skull. We see New Vegas. We get the closure of, oh, of course the ghoul, the feral ghoul sitting on the table is Lucy's mom. Of course, like, it scratches all those itches
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
it's a spectacle and it's not necessarily, not, this isn't fine media consumption. This is just
Uh
junk
huh.
food.
Uh huh.
Where, as someone with experience with the Fallout modern Fallout games, it does enough to make me want to see where they go, just because I am a Fallout fanboy at heart.
Hmm. Hmm.
Where you can pick out all of these lore inaccuracies, you can pick out all the plot holes, the pacing, and all of that. But at the end of the day, as someone who likes Fallout and just wants to watch a TV show, I think it does enough to, you know, make me interested in a season two, while
Hmm.
still understanding, yeah, this isn't necessarily the greatest television, but it does a good enough job to kind of tickle what I want out of, or what I want out of a Fallout TV series. But
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, man, anything else from this year finale that stood out to you?
No, I think like we've touched on everything that like really really stood out for me. Jaren, actually, I have a quick question for you. Actually, from this
Yes.
finale, Jaren, for the Vault 31 experiment or 31, like the trio of vaults, Jaren, do you think you would have wanted, if you were in like the Vault Tech position, would you have wanted to be cryo frozen, or do you think you would have wanted to like be Bud and like be a robot brain?
Oh no, I don't want to be a robot brain, man. I feel like if you dug deep enough in the mistake zone or Saturday Morning Arcade, I think, yeah, just cryo. If I was an exec, I'd probably be cryo, and hopefully,
Mm-mm.
and hope for the best that, okay, maybe when I'm unfrozen, everything's a okay.
Ah, true, 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 true.
Do you have a preference, Matt?
Jaren, I think I would have picked the robot brain and then partway through realized, oh no, this was a bad idea. I wish I was frozen.
Not when Bud was just like stuck between like the mop and that crate.
Uh-huh.
Tragic, Matt. The
Jaren?
tragic.
The sense of like dread I felt when Thaddeus pulled the power core out of the power armor and trapped Maximus in there and just left them made me
Yep.
feel so messed up like inside.
That was such a terrifying scene, and my heart was racing there too.
Mhm.
And I guess to close off this episode, Matt,
Mhm.
and all my rambling, again, as someone who has a fondness of the modern Fallout games, I think throughout the episode or throughout the series, Matt,
Mhm.
it's just all the little things, all the little references, all the different callbacks to the Fallout games proper or the modern Fallout games. That's where I popped off the most. Whether it be Lucy going through that general store in Philly and then you see the Vault Boy bobbleheads throughout, or when you see Norm hacking into the Overseer computer and then doing the hacking mini game, just all the different sound effects to them using stim packs or seeing Mr. Handy. Again, Matt, this is, a love letter in many ways to modern Fallout fans. And those are what got the kicks out of me, where, again, I was watching this with my partner, and every time a little reference came across, it was just me smiling ear to ear, saying, but not wanting to be that guy of, oh, this is from this is the context of in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, Matt. I had a lot of fun with it. Where when it comes to season 2, Matt, I know we've gone, in and out of this, but what are you hoping out of season 2? Is there any specific storylines you want explored? Any specific concepts or just anything in that regard?
I kind of hope that they show Thaddeus a lot in it because I know you were talking about like seeing Cooper's like becoming a ghoul, but I feel like Thaddeus becoming a ghoul could also just be like a good alternative there because I feel like they're still going to be touching a lot on the Cooper half of like the story still.
Right.
So I feel like, cramming the like Cooper story, the ghoul story, and then like the ghoulification of Cooper might be too much for that one character.
Right.
So I don't know. I like Thaddeus as a character, so I do just like kind of want to see more of him.
Fair. And I guess for me, as I said before, that New Vegas reveal at the end, since I have such a high regard for Fallout New Vegas, I just want to see what their presentation of the game is. And Matt, if it plays a big role in season 2, I'm going to do another playthrough just so it's fresh in my mind, just to see what references I can see to make it into the series as well. But Matt, that was our pseudo dive into the Fallout TV series, which is available on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Overall, I enjoyed my time with it. It had its highs. It definitely had some lows, but I think just as a piece of bubblegum junk food entertainment, it fits well, and it does its job of making me want to play a new Fallout or even just revisit New Vegas or even 76 and for some sick and twisted reason. But Matt, unfortunately, I know we go back and forth in the Don't Match Me challenges, but I believe you came prepared with a Don't Match Me challenge this week, which I am thankful for.
Yeah,
Alba.
Jaren, of course, we can't have one of these episodes without having a Don't Match Me. And of course, Jaren, I am doing a Fallout-based Don't Match Me challenge. And, rules are the same as always. I'm going to ask 5 questions, and your answers to those questions just have to be different from my answers to those questions.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough.
So, and of course, these questions are going to become more and more, or I hope they're going to become more and more specific as the questions go on. So, Jared, let's start off from the top. Also, anybody listening, I think since this is going to be very Fallout specific, might be a good idea to have that Fallout wiki open.
All right.
But, Jared, the very first question, there's going to be a lot of choices here for this one. Name a companion from any of the Fallout games.
Ooh.
So, or specifically any permanent companion for any of the Fallout games.
Okay. official companion. So Willow doesn't count, friends.
Official companions.
Willow
no
doesn't count.
No mods. No mods.
Okay, Matt. Any of the games, correct?
Any of the games, yeah. Any of the games. So,
all right.
Name that companion in 3, 2, 1. I'm picking the good old boy? Dog meat. Is dog meat a boy?
Matt,
Uh-huh.
I love dog meat in the game, in the, I guess, the Fallout games. Or the Fall games, sorry, the Fallout
Series?
TV series. Matt, I love me dogs. And when dog meat was put into that freezer, couldn't forgive Thaddeus there, Matt. That was that made me feel real bad, Matt. For me, I picked Clover from Fallout 3. All I remember is she had a dress and a bomb around her neck.
Nice. Jaron, you made it through. Hopefully everybody else made it through. So Jaron,
Hopefully.
my next question is to name the number of any vault that has canonically appeared in a Fallout game. So,
Fallout game. Matt, I knew this was going to come up in some capacity, and I initially thought I'm going to say Vault 69 from that Penny Arcade comic. But
yeah, it has to be canonically in a game.
Okay. No, but Vault 69 is canon, from what I saw. But okay, from a game. Got it.
So, name that vault number in 3, 2, 1. Jaron, I'm going with the first vault I ever experienced, Vault 101.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough. Matt, I tripped out and I had to go with Vault 76 because that was the only thing that came to mind.
Yeah, fair, Jaron. Fair. Jaron, I wanted to pick the Gary vault, but I don't know what number that vault was.
Was Gary Vault in New Vegas? I think that was a New Vegas one, correct? Or
it was New Vegas or 4, I want to say.
One of those. It was a good vault, Matt. It was a good vault.
Good vault, good goof. So, Jaron, getting a little bit more specific, narrowing down the choices. The next question is to name any skill category from Fallout. Any skill.
So, in terms of special, correct?
Not in terms of these are going to be things like, like repair, science. I think gun, ranged weapons. I think is small guns.
Okay.
That one.
I know what you're talking about.
So, just name any skill in 3, 2, 1. Got to pick my old reliable Jaron. I pick sneak.
God damn it, Matt! You're too good at this game.
Jaron, you can't make a sneak archer, a stealth archer without having sneak.
I was thinking about what I said about Norm earlier and how Norm is the sneak character.
Jared, if I didn't pick sneak, I think I would have just picked lockpick, which is, still in that same vein.
I should have picked whatever the stupid, charisma-based ones were, but got me, Matt. I'm not, but hopefully our friends are still in it.
But, even if you're out, you can still keep playing.
You can still play.
So, Jaron, the next one is name any Fallout game. Any Fallout game. I think this is a list of I think there's 10 or so Fallout games out there for you to choose from. So you just gotta name any one of them. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. The game I picked is Fallout Shelter.
God damn it again! Not doing good in these Don't Match Me challenges the last few weeks.
Hate to see it.
Oh man. I knew I should have just went with my tried and true New Vegas, but nope.
Oh yeah. And hopefully the anybody else listening is doing better than Jaron right now.
Yep.
So we're going on to the last question, which I hope has less choices than how many Fallout games there are. But Jaron, name any one of the special stats. I think they're stats special attributes.
All right.
So Jaron, we're going in 3, 2, 1. I'm picking L for luck.
Oh, I went with S. Nice.
And that is the Fallout Don't Match Me challenge for this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully our listeners got through, Jaron.
Not my best outing for Don't Match Me challenges, but that was our Fallout Vault episode in terms of the series. I think, Matt, we might need to open up the MZ Vault again maybe next week. But until then, I want to thank you, as always, for joining me this week and, of course, editing this podcast.
Yo, Jaron, I want to thank you for, as always, hosting this podcast and, giving us a good reason to meme on Vault episodes and Fallout.
Of course, Matt. Of course, we are some Fallout boys, and we have to talk about it when we can. But damn it, maybe I should have kept that for a Don't Match Me challenge, but I digress. Matt, yeah, that was our episode, and maybe not the last of some Fallout mistakes, for now anyway. But until then, Matt, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of Fallout Season 1.